Hello and welcome to WingChun Online. I'm Sifu Colin Ward and this is Mark Anderson. He's one of my senior instructors and he's going to be helping me today to explain and show you a little bit of Wing Chun. Just to kind of give you an idea what Wing Chun is about, it's the only style that was invented by a woman, a Buddhist monk, a Buddhist nun called Moy, and it gets its name from her first student, which was a girl called Wing Chun. And Wing Chun incidentally translates as beautiful springtime. Now, Wing Chun really has kind of gained its popularity through its most famous practitioner of Bruce Lee, and also through his teacher, great Grandmaster Yip Man. Most people have seen movies about him these days. My training comes from Yip Man's eldest son, Yip Chun. So what we're going to be showing you here is a direct link from its origins to what you're learning now at home. For those of you that, some people are going to be watching this and you know what Wing Chun is, you've sought this site out deliberately, that's fine. But for those of you that don't really know anything about it, again, in its most simplistic form, I'm going to show you what this is about. Now, it's worth reminding you or kind of sowing some seeds that before we start any system, any martial art, anything you learn really, we've got to learn this in 3 basic stages. We need to learn the shapes, we need to learn to defend using those shapes, and then learn to defend and counter-attack. Now, regarding those shapes that we're going to learn to defend with in Wing Chun, I'm going to keep it simple and down to 3 basic positions. We're going to have what we call your Tan Sao, Bong Sao, and Fox Sao. Now, all of these are descriptive. They're in Cantonese, but they don't have any colourful names. So literally, like arm means, Sao means hand or arm. Like Tan Sao, for instance, simply means palm up. So we've got your 3 basic blocking shapes. As I say, the Tan Sao, Bong Sao, and Fox Sao. Your 3 main strikes. Of course, there's more, but we're just looking at this very simple. We're going to look at your punches. We're going to look at palms, and also bues. Now, bue is basically means thrusting fingers, and Mark, if I can use you, this is going to be used by way of a strike to the eyes, or if you come in with a punch, it's a way of getting a nice contact as a way of defending this. Now, while I've got your arm there, Pak Sao and Lap Sao. If I want to hit to Mark, I'm trying to get through here. Now, Mark's quite strong, so it's very difficult for me to get in there. I'm going to move that arm out of the way by way of a slap, because Pak Sao means slapping hand. So I'm going to move this very simply to the side, and that allows me in. Lap Sao means pulling hand, and this is when I want to hit, but I can't reach. So I'm going to use my lead hand here to pull, and it might be short and sharp this way, striking in for the punch, or maybe I'm going to use this as a way of moving me into a better position so I can do what I need to do. Now, just regarding the shapes, that's all we're going to be looking at for now. We're going to build upon that, and we're going to see how these things work together. We're going to look at our training drills and ultimately get into the good stuff, if you like, the nitty-gritty of your street self-defense. Another very important factor in Wing Chun is the fighting distance, and this is one of the things that makes it very different from most other styles. Usually people will spar at long range. The fighting distance for Wing Chun is very, very close, and this is quite intimidating for most people. What we refer to as long range is pretty much arm distance. So it's a great way of building your confidence as well by training in Wing Chun. Another thing that we don't have in Wing Chun is swinging techniques. We don't have hook punches or uppercuts or roundhouse kicks. There's a wonderful saying in Wing Chun, and that's that others walk the bow, I walk the string. Because the idea is that if he comes in with a hook punch, by the time it's going to take him to come around, it's much quicker for me to go straight down that center line. And the center line is, again, this is another major factor in our Wing Chun training. Mark, if I can just turn you around a little bit. For the center line, if you imagine a line just quite simply just going straight down the front of the body, right down the middle of the body, imagine this being about 2 inches wide. Down there, that would cover all of your major vital organs, the eyes, nose, throat, heart, groin. Knees are also said to be included in this as well. Now, can I move you around a little bit? This center line is called your Chung Sum Scene, which means central heart line. But again, we don't really need to go into any of that just for now. But if you put your arms up like so, Now, if I aim to the side of here and hit mark, two things are going to happen. So I hit to the side here, and the two things happen very, very easily. The first one is that he takes the impact, and as you clearly saw there, the second part is I'm going to feed that onto myself. So aiming for the side is problematic. If we aim for the center, then all the impact is going to be taken and all the damage down the vital organs. So what we're trying to do in Wing Chun is the maximum damage with the minimum effort, because this system is designed for the smaller, weaker person against the bigger, stronger opponent. And age doesn't matter with this style as well. You know, my teacher, my Sifu Grandmaster Yip Chun, is 94 years old and still trains every day. So male, female, young or old. This is the reason why we are not interested in trading blows. We're not looking at mass and muscle. We're looking at scientific, sensible self-defense. When we're, I mentioned the punches, and that we have punches, we have palms, we have views. One of the things that you may have noticed there when I was doing the punches, Mark, would you just do some punches please, is that we don't have your traditional kind of jab and cross. The way that we punch in Wing Chun is square on, because the principle of this is to use both sides equally. That'll do, thank you. What we don't have in Wing Chun is a preferred style, and again this is one of those things that makes it different from most other martial arts. Usually a person's going to have a side-on stance for whatever reason, whatever style, and now the mentality of this is that I'm going to give you a smaller target area, but the trade-off is that you lose one of your weapons. In Wing Chun what we're trying to do is to be square on, so it doesn't look like I'm actually ready to defend myself. It also means that I've got both arms, or if I wish, both weapons available to me. So if you come in with a strike, if he's coming in with a punch from here, it's very easy then for me to counter-attack and square on and use both of these arms together. So this is one of the key principles of Wing Chun, not having a preferred side, or if you wish, not having a bad side. When we look at the range as well, would you come forward a little bit? When we are so close, this is also another thing to consider, is the fact that we don't have any high kicks in Wing Chun. You know, we don't have any swinging techniques, yes, no uppercuts, hook punches or roundhouse kicks, but we don't really have many kicks at all. Because again, how can I use a high kick? Now I like to look at this, in my opinion, in many ways, doing a kick to the head is a little bit like me trying to punch his ankles. Why would I take my lowest weapon for my highest target, and vice versa? So for these reasons as well, this kind of emphasizes the fact that in Wing Chun you don't need to be supple because we're not doing high kicks. You don't need to be strong because we're not reliant on muscle. So again, anyone can train this at any capacity.